What if the thing quietly destroying your relationship isn't a lack of love, but an excess of expectation? We've been taught that the key to a fulfilling relationship is finding the right person. Someone who gets you completely, supports you unconditionally, excites you endlessly, and somehow never disappoints you. It sounds beautiful. And it's also, psychologically speaking, one of the most dangerous ideas we carry into love. Here's the truth nobody tells you at the beginning: no human being was ever designed to be everything to another person. We live in an era that has made this problem worse than it's ever been. Scroll through any social media feed and you'll find a carefully curated highlight reel of other people's relationships, the surprise trips, the handwritten notes, the stolen glances that look like movie scenes. Films give us grand romantic gestures and then cut to credits before the ordinary Tuesday arrives. And the ordinary Tuesday is where real relationships actually live. When we absorb these images long enough, something subtle but powerful happens. Our internal benchmark for what love should look like quietly rises, until it reaches a height that no real, flawed, tired, complex human being can consistently reach. And the moment they fall short of that height, we don't see it as normal. We see it as failure. This is where psychology becomes deeply important. Research in relationship science consistently shows that our level of satisfaction isn't determined only by how our partner behaves, it's shaped by the gap between what they do and what we expected them to do. When expectations are sky high, even genuinely good behavior can feel inadequate. We stop noticing what's going right because we're so focused on the distance between reality and the ideal we've constructed. Psychologists call this the negativity bias in expectations. The higher your baseline, the more visible every imperfection becomes. Not because your partner has gotten worse, but because your measuring stick has gotten longer. Consider a couple, together for 4 years, deeply in love, but increasingly frustrated. She expected him to intuitively sense her emotional needs without her having to voice them. He expected her to admire his efforts even when those efforts looked nothing like what she'd asked for. Neither of them was being unreasonable by normal human standards. But both had built silent expectations the other couldn't see, let alone meet. When they finally sat down and talked, not about what they wanted the other to be, but about who the other person actually was, something shifted. They didn't lower their love. They lowered the invisible scoring system that was quietly grading every interaction. And the relationship didn't just survive. It deepened. This brings us to a distinction that matters enormously. Adjusting unrealistic expectations is not the same as settling. It is not resignation. It is not pretending you deserve less. It is the conscious decision to stop measuring a real person against a fictional standard. Genuine self-worth means knowing what you need in a relationship. Emotional maturity means understanding that your partner is a person, not a projection of your ideal. When acceptance enters a relationship, something remarkable happens to resentment: it dissolves. Not because problems disappear, but because you stop treating imperfection as evidence of emotional failure. You begin to see your partner's limitations the same way you'd want them to see yours, as human, understandable, and worth working with rather than against. The couples who build lasting, genuinely satisfying relationships aren't the ones who never argue or never disappoint each other. They're the ones who have made a quiet internal shift from, "Why aren't you what I imagined?" to, "I want to understand who you actually are." That shift, that single psychological movement, changes everything. Love, at its most stable and most real, is not the feeling of finding someone perfect. It is the daily practice of choosing someone imperfect, with full awareness, and meaning it anyway. The secret to a happier relationship was never about finding the right person. It was always about learning to see the person in front of you, clearly, honestly, and with enough grace to love what you actually find.